Okay, streaming now on live on Facebook. Amazing.
Are we live?
I think so. Well, I'm just checking the group. Yes.
Hey.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
The
Not
initial
working.
view in the headlights. Kind of like, oh, we're live.
Well, last time it was a
Oh,
nightmare.
shit, sorry, my notifications are going already.
Okay. So we are live here in the group. We are Emma Collins, Antonina Mamzenko, and we have Alice Chapman with us today to talk about various things. But before we get into that, just a quick reminder that our group mentoring program, Turning Kids into Art, Elevating the Documentary Image, is still open for enrollment. We have just a handful of spaces left, but it is still open. It starts in January. So if anyone's interested, check it out. But without further ado, now Emma, would you introduce Alice, please?
I will. Yeah. So we're a little bit late starting because
Because we were talking about glasses.
we've been chatting. If we digress into the American elections, I apologise. Every so often we might need to have a little pause just to
If anyone has any news
ourselves.
Yeah, please comment if there's news.
So, as currently, anyway, until we run out of people, we're introducing lots of fabulous UK and European documentary photographers to highlight the amazing talent in our continent and country. So this time we have invited Alice to our friend Alice to chat with us. It's a chat, Alice. It's not an interview.
Yes. Otherwise, I go.
Otherwise, you're leaving. Otherwise, you're like, I'm up.
So Alice is a fantastic documentary photographer. She also does some other interesting things. She's got some personal projects. She works with a lot of nurseries and commercial work as well. So we'll be discussing some of those things. It's a bit different to what we've chatted about with other people, just to give a different something different to think about. So yes, Alice, over to you.
Over to me.
Full interview.
Well,
what did you not want us to ask you? What would be your favourite day? Describe your favourite day.
This one so far. Actually, it bloody well would be. We're like an hour away, possibly, from some numbers coming in. I really would genuinely love people to comment with this news, because I've done no work for 3 days, and now I've got to I've switched CNN off. That man's just been in my ear for 3 days. So all that switched off. Please comment with news.
Please tell us if anything changes.
Yes.
I've had to turn my phone off, because if my phone rings, my whole computer starts going, yeah. I'm sure the recording and everything going on, so I can't even check. So I'm feeling slightly panicky that I can't update myself with results.
Don't worry. And also, if you have any questions, as we're chatting, if you have any questions for us or for Alice, please just feel free to comment. I'm keeping an eye. So when I'm looking off screen, I'm not being distracted. I'm actually looking for your comment.
I'm boring you. I'm just checking my phone.
Yeah, because I must just say, actually, because last time we had massive technical problems and sick bug problems with Elise's daughter. So when Elise came on, we had to record it and post it afterwards. So I don't think as many people saw it because it wasn't live. So please go and check that out, because she had some amazing stuff to say about her sort of
personal work.
Photography and art has helped her process her faith journey, which is an interesting story in itself. So please go and have a look at that. Sorry, I digress. We're back onto Alice again. Hi, Alice. Back to the panel interview. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Not about yourself, but how you came to... So your background, how you came to photography, how you came to pursue it as a career. And
it's quite a long journey, I suppose. I've used the word journey already.
I hate the word journey.
Sorry, I thought I can't say that word. I have buzzer or something. Kick me out.
We need to have a swear box, isn't it? If you say journey, we have to put some money in for a charity.
I think we're all agreed we can swear, but let's try not to use words like journey. I've fucked up already.
Yeah. Swearing's fine. Journey isn't.
Okay. So my journey to family documentary photography. So I set my business up properly at the beginning of 2015, offering family photography, nursery photography, and commercial photography. I might have been offering pet photography at the time as well, but that didn't last very long. Nobody booked me, which was heartbreaking because I was really quite into that. But for 3 years, I think before that, I got a website and I was doing a little bit of work here and there. And that's the window in which I kind of made all my sort of biggest mistakes. So it was quite nice to kind of get all that out of the way. And I was all over the place with genres. And I guess the beginning of that, so I was on maternity leave for all of 2011. And I was kind of transitioning from a hobbyist photographer into like a sort of semi-professional like, photographer. And I sold art prints in a cafe.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So some of them were all right. Some of them were crap. Yeah. So my local framer gave me a deal. If I bought 6 art prints, 3 sold in a week. So I've got another 6 made, and I had them for years. And I gave them to a charity shop, like print, frame, everything. After a while, so there was one person in the village. I think it was like her local street or something, or field. She was like, "Oh, that's lovely. I'll buy that." And like flower macro stuff. I think we all probably went through a flower macro stage. Yes. So all that's behind me now. But yeah, I used to do a bit of street photography. I do think it's interesting to look back and see there are threads running through, things that I kind of catch my eye that I like to use in pictures are sort of still there. I wasn't terribly good, really. Yeah, so it's 5 years like properly doing it. And in terms of family and the genre, I really didn't understand that documentary family photography was a self-contained genre until sort of midway through my first year. And I kind of was trying to do like more than one thing at once, and I was very, very client-led. So I'd say, so what sort of photography would you like? You know, and I thought either you went to a studio or you had natural photos. So I kind of was a natural photographer, but I would offer studio style shots in home. So now I say it's fully documentary, but you can have portraits as well. We can do a group portrait. I think, you know, everybody does that. But back in the very beginning, my version of that was to take a pop-up screen, which I would like unpop in someone's house, and take like a lint roll, let's get all the cat hair off it, and put it behind them and trying to stop it falling over, and sit there in front of it and then leave it there the whole time. And I'd get playing in the garden shots, running around the house shots. And one of my very first sessions, I couldn't collapse it. It took me 20 minutes. I was trying to like get this 6-foot square thing in a little bag, and they left me to it.
That's brilliant. I love it.
That was brilliant.
That with you.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's true. I think we talked about that when we were talking about documentary versus lifestyle. It's a spectrum, and I think it's like studio and natural photography, and documentary is like kind of at one end of it. Then you've got formal portraits in a home or in a field, which is at the other end of it, and there's just like lots in between.
Did you do wrapping babies up on beanbags?
I did. I actually bought a massive beanbag. Luckily, I have an estate car, so that fits into my massive boot.
See, I could have probably got the screen home if I had an estate. I had a KA at the time.
Yeah, I had all the different fabrics to wrap and hats and things. So my first few newborn shots were like that. And then actually, after I had mine, I remember I went on training. I drove to Norfolk. This photographer who does this, beautiful post newborn work, and I had one-to-one with her. And after that, it was a whole day. I left feeling like there's no way I'm not doing this.
Oh, really?
I do not have enough patience, like to do it properly. Because I was like, I want to do it properly. I want to know how to do it properly. And I realized I just cannot do that, because she literally spent like hours sitting with the baby, rocking the baby before placing the baby in the positions, and photoshopping. Obviously you have to Photoshop all that. No. And then that's when the transition, I think, began in like earnest. It's like, I'm not doing babies on these.
You know what terrified me? Because I never offered like that kind of newborn, never offered posing myself. It was very much, I guess, my newborn was like livestock at the time, but I had no idea how much of it was done in post. Like this sort of thing with babies, I had no idea. I never tried it, but I could have done, and it terrifies me that people set up and they don't appreciate
some people do live
technicalities of each genre. I did a lifestyle newborn, and they had an enormous dining room table, like full of crap, full of like wipes and clothes and, you know, milk bottles and everything, and a changing little mat right in the middle, and they put the baby on there for a bit while they went to sort of get a nice blanket out, and I shot that, and this is like way back, and this is like what I'm enjoying seeing, this is what I want to capture for them. And then I got all these nice sort of blanket stuff, but yeah, I think it's really hard if you don't understand the genres to find your way through. I think it's a lot easier for people starting now, because family documentary,
definitely, I agree, it's much easier to start now. I think partly because there's just a lot more of it out there, so I think it's clearer what the differences are, because there's more. I mean, even with that sort of studio baby stuff, there's a big range of more natural versions, and then you've got people who use lighting and people who don't, and people who do it in their home sort of natural light studio, or go to people's houses, and people who use hats, people who don't. I mean, it's like there's just this huge spectrum of different things. But there's so much out there now, you can kind of find a lot more and see what feels right to you. I think
we can expect clients to understand that.
Yeah,
that's like I got asked to do I think I got asked to do a cake smash, and I very like swiftly got out of the whole conversation when I realised that's what they wanted. Oh yeah, she sent me screenshots of ideas, and it was like a baby in a hot air balloon with balloons coming up, and you just know straight away to say, oh, that's not me, here's someone I could recommend. But I think when you're starting out, it's very hard sometimes to have that confidence. And I think we do try.
It is hard, because you also want to make some income, don't you? So so there's a little bit of desperation and panic.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, but I need to book it because I need some money, I need to work. I suppose
saying no to work is really hard. If you're in your first few years, you don't make a lot, you've got expenses, you know, kits.
But I think also it comes down, like, sometimes you just, when you first starting, you actually want to try all the things. That's the way you will understand what is it you like doing. Maybe, like, I remember I had a period of, I bought lots of colorful ribbons, and I was like tying them to trees and making portraits like that with the wind blowing and stuff. Like, I had this whole thing for like several months, and then I was just like, no, that's just not me.
I used to take, so in one stage I did quite lifestyle-y park stuff, and I used to take like gym ribbons on sticks where you'd like do this. So I love the pictures where the kids would put, you know, the shapes in it. So I'd have my bag with my kit in, and I'd have bubbles, ribbons on sticks, you know, I'd have Haribo. And I remember saying, like, if I was doing a group shot and one of the kids was not happy, I remember saying, like, may I bribe your child with confectionery? You know, like trying to use like keywords, and I'd like wave Haribo in front of them. I mean, so now I love it if a little person's having a bit of a moment, you know, like, please don't be completely well behaved the entire time.
It's funny, isn't it, how you realise that what it is that appeals to you. I think, and it's a lot of that comes through time and experience and looking back over what you've seen. So definitely, I mean, can I use the word journey? Everyone's got to go on this journey. You know, and that looking back over things really helps you find what you're interested in. Some of it's through the doing, like you were saying about tying things to trees and whatever, because I discovered that I'm just not interested in setting things up. I find that really boring, and I don't like editing. I find that, like, I don't want to spend much time on my computer. I want everything to be as quick as possible in the computing, and funny moments appeal to me, and you get that through natural happening.
You can't set up.
Set it up. No,
you just can't do it.
And it's like some funny things are. Yeah, well, it's just that they're so momentary, aren't they?
And it's what you find funny. It's like the framing. So I love details and funny pictures. So I love funny details, and someone else would love like details in, you know, funny in context, and it's completely different.
It can be like funny. Like, there's some photographers that I know that they have these pictures that are, it's like, it's loud funny. So it's like mum making a funny face and then the kid melting down, and then they can be quite funny, right? When it's like a really subtle sort of humor that you have to look for in the picture. And that's, again, that's different, isn't it?
I did a DFP class on funny pictures with Annalise. Oh my goodness, Nix. Yeah, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought I'd got the name wrong because of politics. I thought I just can't stop thinking about politics. Yeah. So I love her work. I love how funny her work is. I went through this process of understanding all the different types of humour, which was a very serious process to do, which was itself quite hilarious. And then you realise, you kind of, decide which, or not decide, but you understand which types of funny you like, and then how to put that in a picture.
Yeah.
So I quite like Easter egg humour. You don't realise it's funny straight away. So you'd have a picture with a little detail in that takes a minute to see, like something's upside down or like something's wrong or something like that. I don't think that's available anymore, that course, but that was great.
Yeah.
But what interesting, what came up, I think yesterday, wasn't it, in one of the discussions in the group, was this concept that documentary means messy and like all that, and we had an interesting discussion. So I think it's worth kind of just chatting about that and how to kind of trust your vision as an artist, but still trust the approach.
Yeah.
So how do you go with that, Alice?
Yeah, so trusting the approach is the big thing for me. So the turning point on my journey, it's so good, was I was doing I think we should have a bingo card for these chats or drinking games, and whenever anyone mentions Kirsten or Creative Line
journey, what else is there?
When I'll be like on the floor by the end. So I get to the trusted process thing. It was really, really hard for me. I really struggled with it. So I was doing distance learning with Kirsten, and we were sort of learning all these different various techniques. And I was directing a bit still, because I was still doing a bit of lifestyle. And Kirsten would talk about how one of the reasons she didn't direct was because she felt she wasn't very good at it and she didn't know how to do it. And I might not be getting her words right, but that's kind of what I remember. And I used to think, well, I feel all right about directing. I'm quite comfortable doing it, and I think I can do it quite well. And it wasn't like, oh, move your elbow up, swap places. It was more like, so quite subtle things, like if I went in a house and it was quite British terraced house in February and it's really dark and you think, oh, how am I going to get anything here? And the kids have got their back to the light and shadow on their faces. So what I would do in that situation is I'd maybe go and sit on the windowsill or stand with my back to the window and just talk to them, and they turn around and they'd look at me, or I might say something like, oh, is that your slide in the garden? And they'd look out the window. So I'd line up these moments which enabled me to get a picture that I believed was better. So I was directing people to easier situations for me to get better pictures in. And I remember thinking, I'm on board with the documentary process, I completely get that, but why would I let go of that thing I'm doing? Because my quality of my pictures is going to go down. So I think two things have to happen if you're feeling, I don't know if that's something other people maybe feel, or if that was just me, but I imagine it's quite common that part of trusting the process is letting go, is unlearning things, trusting yourself to let go of the things that you think are helping you. It's like kicking your crutches away, sort of thing. And I think that you can't really do that with confidence until you've got other skills. So building up your skills with light and technical skills are a really important thing. So in that same situation, in a dark room, I would now shoot backlit in the window. And Emma, your 2021 balloon picture is that. It's like, silhouette style back in the window, and that won one of the DFA rounds. So like if I'd walked in that room like 5 years ago, I'd have made that person turn round. And I don't know if you were ever like that as well, but that knowledge of how to shoot with difficult light in different situations, I think has to be there before you can completely embrace the process with confidence. You can embrace it without confidence, but with confidence, I think, you know, you need to know.
That's a really good point. I think particularly in documentary, because you have to trust in the process, the technical skills need to be really there to be able to make the most of all the different challenges and opportunities that you have. Because, like you said, yes, you could like open the curtains, turn the light off, open the door, speak to the person to make them to turn round, walk into a different room and get people, you know, or even suggest that, you know, something you could be even doing it more overtly, like asking people to, shall we go into another room? Yeah. There's all sorts of things that you could be doing, but it is all then you're directing in a lesser or greater extent to generally to try and manufacture a more a situation that's easier to photograph, that's going to result in a better, what you believe is a better photograph, because technically it's easier to handle.
And I think that's key, that you believe it's better. So it might be better technically, because in that moment, if you'd have shot into the shadow, you wouldn't have made a good job of it. But in terms of moment, in terms of composition, it perhaps wasn't better. And I think that, the light is a really difficult challenge. And there's different levels of directing. And it's really easy to think, because I felt, I've stopped directing because I've stopped telling people to have a running race. Or I've stopped handing bubbles in someone's hand, you know. But actually, I'm still directing because
you're subconsciously directing, aren't you? It's not overt. You're not asking someone to do something, but by your actions, you're getting them to do something.
And that control, that sort of, I'm a bit of a control freak sometimes. So I was I quite like making sure everything's the way it's working on a safety net. But I think part of trusting the approach is embracing the uncertainty. You don't know what the light's going to be like, you don't know what you're going to do. You don't know necessarily how your picture's going to turn out, but you've got to, at the same time, upskill. So, and make sure kit's okay as well. Know the limits of your kit. Like if you're working in dark terraced houses, which, I mean, I don't know if most people in this country, but we have a thing here where we're in a bifold door age now, aren't we? But, you know, loads of people have got quite dark houses.
Equally, bifold doors drive me mad, because they're usually in rooms where they've got skylights as well, so you've just got light everywhere. That's what that's like. So it's not bifold doors, but it's like you know, French doors and windows, and then there's skylights as well, and there's just light from everywhere. So it just makes it actually really boring. Or you've got sunshine coming through, like bright sunshine in the summer coming through the skylights, which is just unpleasant as well. You know, the light's coming from above, and like, or you've got great big white squares appearing on the floor.
I used to go in houses where I think clients think they're doing the right thing by saying to you, "Oh, do you want the lights on or off?" I get asked that like every other session. Lots. So, and the thing is, so strictly in documentary preach, you don't fiddle with it. But if they're already put them on for you, you're in a different situation. So I try to say things like, would you have them on anyway? Or how do you normally have them? But then if it really doesn't seem to matter, then occasionally I guess I might say, oh no, I don't need that on, because I think it's going to really, like, you know, they're only putting on for me anyway.
Yeah, because they think it's dark for you. And
but one thing I did learn was that every single time that you control the situation to make it easier for you to take a picture, you're losing the opportunity to get better by working in a challenging situation. Because the genre is all about challenge. It's all about documenting.
The challenge is actually what makes it so fun, because I found when I was doing more lifestyle stuff, it's like, oh my God, so bored.
Oh God,
I'm going to the same field again. Oh my God,
and the thing with the story arc is the same. You know, you get your character, you get your moments, but the arc of the storytelling, when you step back from the whole set of photos, it's every single time.
Every time it's exactly the same, and you know it inside out, so you're not challenged to make yourself do anything different. You're just like, oh yeah, I know that works, let's just go over there and do that.
I think there's another
slightly different.
there's another element to that, like with directing, I think. I always feel like anything I can come up with, overtly or otherwise, is never going to be as good as what the family will do. But also, you know, if I do that, I'm going to be bringing my idea what their family life should be like in
exactly. You've got that image in your head, so you're walking into
in our society now as well, like that we have this expectations of how family life's supposed to be. And we keep producing imagery, like everyone like just generally keep same sort of imagery of how it's supposed to be.
Well, that's another thing that I used to do actually, like years ago, when I really first started, like 10 years ago. So I'd research pictures before I went on a shoot. It's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, so that'd be good, and you have these ideas. It's like, I suppose people, like, you know, you get some people where you can download or like on courses you get given a posing guide. It's kind of that kind of thing, like revising what am I going to do. Yeah.
You know, just
it never works. It literally never works.
So it probably works it works in other genres. It works for the babies if they have to be asleep or awake. But I had a family hold up her phone and she showed me a picture of another family. That she wanted me to recreate for her. And then I guess we could talk about how different where your spectrum, which I love. I really thought was brilliant. You know, where families are on that, you kind of can't come in at one end if they're in the middle. You have to meet them where they are to some extent. But yeah, you think, well, if you want me to take a picture of you looking at that family, that's not going to look like you, is it? It's just like, it doesn't fucking mean anything. But that's the thing that started to get to me. It was that everyone was looking the same, you know, and they looked like they were going to like a wedding, or it was a catalogue shoot or something, you know. It's like, well, this isn't you.
There's no flavour, was it? It's like having beige food where there was no colour, there was no flavour. Everything was beige and blue, and you know, same place, different family, but same sort of hairstyle, same sort of clothes, and it just same moments really, different family, and they'd react slightly differently. It was so samey when you're looking at it over and over again, and it just made me really sad, actually, a bit like kind of and empty, that people weren't trying to capture their unique side.
But what makes you different?
And even they wanted to blend with what they thought was the accepted look, rather than actually
being themselves.
And
that thing they're blending with isn't even real. Everyone's blending to this like non-real thing.
They're lifestyle shoots from commercials, aren't they? Yeah, that's what.
I think it's possibly worth saying that, you know, all that stuff is very skilled, and
oh god,
and wrapping babies up is incredibly skilled, but I think this documentary looks easy, but I think it's the hardest. I mean, I have never done the wrapping babies up. To be fair, that's probably the hardest.
That's the actual styling is hard, particularly for babies, but the photography is made a lot easier because you're in complete control of every element of it. Whereas documentaries are completely the opposite end, where you're literally not in control of it in anything. So your skills have to be super high to be able to make amazing pictures.
I'm just
can't do it as quickly as well.
Comments. Chuck is saying hello, Alice, and he.
Oh, sorry, who's that?
Chuck.
Oh, hello. Now put me off. My most recent mentor, and possibly next as well.
Problem solving. Documentaries, problem solving. Charlene is actually commenting. Well, first of all, let me just say, Chuck, we did ask people to let us know how the election going, so it's fine.
Oh yeah,
any news?
Edged ahead in Georgia.
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah. And Charlene was saying, that's so interesting, as I've had people tell me to move people to better light and get them to turn, yet I feel conflicted because I don't want to get involved. So I guess I need to work on my technique. I think that was something that we discussed a while ago, where there was a critique on Charlene's shoot, and someone who is not a documentary family photographer told her to to move people into better light.
So ignore that.
Yeah, ignore it. But it's like it's that thing of skilling up though, to make sure that you can make great photographs in whatever the situation. I think that's the key, isn't it?
And the other thing with skilling up is, so research, so look at the people, so look at Emma, look at the people at the top of their game and look at their work and absorb it, and look at the people who got photo books out and absorb that, and your gut feel will build from the knowledge that you kind of take in. So yeah, then you'll be able to say, actually, I'm not sure that advice feels right.
Yeah.
It's challenging when you do get advice that.
Yeah, there's different kind of advice. Like there's some advice that, and I guess as you become a better photographer, you then learn what advice you want to listen to and what is irrelevant to your particular situation. But yeah,
you have to go with what feels right for you. So if you feel like none of these genres are wrong. They're just different, and different clients are attracted to different genres, and different photographers are attracted to different genres. And generally, there's probably a bit of a match-up in personality and taste between the photographer and the client. That's where it should work that way. And so if your gut feeling, it's like with a personal project, if you're doing a personal project, you want something that's really meaningful to you, because then you'll put more, there'll be more
reviewing it.
You've got more understanding, you've got more interest, so you want to keep going. So if your gut feeling is that you're attracted by documentary photography, then like you were saying, believe in the process and stick to
and I guess it's also, seeking out the mentors who work in that genre. Like if you shoot in documentary, you seek out people who are, as Alice, you said, top of their game in this genre. If you're working on a particular personal project, you approach people who are very strong on personal projects that are maybe not family documentary, but more fine art. Like it's just, it really depends.
Also people who are good at mentoring, because you're good at two things: the thing you're teaching and the teaching process. So have you got,
not wrong if you class yourself as a documentary photographer for work, and that's what you want your business to be, it's not wrong if you want to do a personal project that's slightly different to that, that's like self-portraiture or more fine art or anything like that. It doesn't matter but I think it's important to not send mixed messages to clients.
I think one of the challenges with this genre is, so I think anyone who's self-employed is someone who likes to do things their own way. Anyone who's creative is someone who likes to sort of break boundaries or do things in slightly different ways, perhaps. And then anyone who chooses documentary family photography, within that whole spectrum, if you can do anything self-employed that's creative, it's going to be someone who doesn't like rules, likes to do things a bit differently. And then you find that actually this genre's got all these bloody rules, and suddenly you think, oh my God, I moved somewhere, I'm going to get struck by lightning, or so you can do what the bloody hell you like when you run your own business. You can do it however you want. But if you want to call yourself a family photojournalist or a documentary photographer, you just have to be aware that there are expectations that come with that label and history of that genre, and know about them. And if you want to embrace that, brilliant. And if you don't, fine. But just
call yourself a natural family photographer.
And I remember, like, there was one little moment where people were getting kicked out of the DFA awards, and I was like, oh fuck. I was really worried about the sort of crackdown, because it just felt, in one moment, it just felt a bit scary, that, I photoshopped a reflection of myself out. Once I remember having this conversation, was actually, that was fine. I think that there is a sort of a fine line somewhere, but broadly, you're either one side or the other. You either embrace it or you don't, and you just have to understand what it is and work within it. But you don't have to do that on every single session, because there's two sides to making pictures. There's the photographer and there's the people you're photographing, and because you can't control them, they might not give you what you need to create documentary family pictures. Because I actually find myself reaching for I find myself directing a little bit if they aren't ready to be documentary, because I direct them away from lifestyle looking scenes and moments. So I might say something like, oh, I can't, but I might say, I've got lots of pictures of you blowing bubbles now. Why don't we go down the park or something? You know, something like that.
It's like my expression of being lifestyle, isn't it? And to greater or lesser extent, sometimes you find people are like dressed in twinning outfits, which is they're really not. They've not got the idea of documentary. But then there's other ones where the house has been tidied and they're not quite sure what to do because they feel like they're on a photo shoot rather than behaving naturally. And then so there's so I had one recently actually where it's like, okay, it was the worst weather in the tiniest house with the smallest windows as well, which was a nightmare. But there was a break in the rain. It's like, oh, should we go to the park? Because they were just not. They were finding, I think, being in the house, and they weren't sure what to do. Even out and about, we ended up just walking in a circle around the park because they obviously were waiting to be directed.
I think it's really hard to be photographed. And one of my clients said something to me that really stayed with me. She put it in an email and she said it in person, and she said something like, "We're in your hands, we will be all at sea." And that really made me appreciate how vulnerable they felt, and how actually, if you are being directed, the pressure's off you. And it's much easier to follow instructions than to go, okay, act natural, and actually act natural. So, I mean, there's lots of things that I'm sure all of us do before you even walk into their house that can enable them to actually act natural. But you do have to put in a lot of work, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you can't just say to someone.
It's funny how people forget how they behave naturally. It's like it's like stage fright almost, where
exactly.
they're on show to the you're the audience taking pictures of them, and they're performing, and it's like they're not performing. They don't need to perform. They just need to be normal, but they feel like they've got to perform, and so they're like, oh, what do I do? And they completely forget how to behave with each other.
Yeah, and sometimes you get a kid who does completely perform, because that's what, if parents had a friend over, they perform for the friends, and because you come with a camera, they're like extra performing. But I do think that's genuinely part of that kid's personality, so I kind of go with that. And then you have the kids who are like crazy shy. I think it's perhaps easier with wedding photography because everyone's doing something completely different anyway. Everyone's walking on stage, so to speak, that day. So then you can get the reportage.
I feel like weddings are like a giant style shoot in a way, because everyone's looking their best as well. And they're all there to have fun. So you've got, although it's a natural day in somebody's lifetime, they are staged moments that wouldn't happen on a normal day. So you're getting things like, like dance floor pictures, which just, wouldn't necessarily happen. Well, generally wouldn't happen if you're out on a family shoot.
I've had family discos in the living room. So I think
remembered that you're talking about stage fright, and I remember watching a video. I think it was on Masterclass with Helen Mirren or someone, like a little preview. And the first video was about the most difficult thing for an actor is to just walk out naturally and make it look like your natural walk, without it looking
interesting.
So that just reminded me of that. Of course, act naturally. Okay, how does it look? What does natural look like? And I think a lot of the time, maybe clients think that their natural is not photogenic enough.
Yeah,
and that's why they kind of want confirmation from you to say that actually it is. Just trust me to find the beauty in whatever it is that you're doing. Just trust my process.
And the flattering side as well, as well as photogenic, I think they're going to look a bit shit if they're it's on the sofa with rolls on the belly, sort of thing. So they might be stand up straight and chin up a lot, and then you're stiff. And I think that if we do, so I think in this country, this genre is growing, but it's not completely fully established yet, and I'm really hopeful it will continue to grow. I think day in the life is something that we're probably not all booking a lot of, but we will book. I think, Antina, you probably book quite a few of those.
Yeah,
I don't book many.
Have most of my day in the lives are with people who are visiting London.
make the most of it. Yeah,
I go with them somewhere, like out of the country. But they seem like more open to that, and especially if they have small kids, they feel like, oh, just get the whole day, and then we don't have to worry about like finding the time to take photos.
And the longer the session is, the less you have to worry about that, because you can't keep that standing up straight thing going all day. And you don't have to worry about it.
The problem with long sessions is people just look at the price, because obviously they have to be. It's like wedding photography, because you're there for a full day. And people are ready to pay that for a wedding. There's like so much money spent on one day, and yet people haven't quite shifted to understand actually your everyday life is what you should be remembering in the long term. And it's just as valuable to invest in recording that as it is for one day of your life.
Well, sometimes I say to people, it's like wedding photography but without the wedding, and this is much more special, like later when you look back on it. So the shorter the session, the more challenging it is to get people to act natural.
Definitely.
So I think most of us probably plan activities, and this is where I think you do so much of the work in getting people to relax and be themselves. So if you know you're going to go to the park, or you know you're going to do a certain thing in the garden or a certain activity at home, they can just get into it. And it's like giving them a kind of, it's not like giving them a script, is it? Because that's completely
taking the focus away from the fact that they're being photographed.
Yeah.
So if on a shorter session, I would totally send them a list of ideas that they can do. And I say like, this is just for you to actually do it. It's not about me photographing the activity. It's about like you doing something that you forget that I'm there to take pictures.
Yeah. And you're photographing how it feels when they do it, and
then interactions that they might have, like if they're cooking or if they are, I don't know, drawing something or whatever.
And I like when I'm doing that, so I'll send like ideas or chat with them, and I like to say, look, these are just ideas, so that it get you thinking about the sort of things that you do in your house, because otherwise they might end up doing something that isn't really them. Exactly. I did one on Tuesday, actually, was why we arranged this panel interview. And the little girl was really into Disney and Elsa, and she knew the words and liked to dress up in it and do her actions and things. And they had that as one of their activities, and they're all into it. Like the parent, like the dad, it's one of my favourite dads. I've shot this family before. He's got a great big beard and he wears a flat cap and he's like this, and he's doing like the Elsa dance and things.
Oh, brilliant.
And that was part of, because it was a newborn, so the newborn was like just like on the.
I forget the baby. What else is going on? Yeah.
But that was them, which was great, because that felt more real to their personality as a family.
And I think having the consultation stage is really important, because I send a list as well, and exactly, you don't just pick something that you think looks good. Oh, I've seen a picture on the portfolio of a family baking. We'll do baking. Nobody bakes. No one knows what to do. Kids like, this is boring. You know, it's got to be. And I say to them as well, what represents your family at this stage? You know, what the age of the kids. You know, this might be the last time you'll do this. You know, in a year or two's time, if you do it every year, every 2 years, you'll be on to the next sort of style of activity. So, sorry, I can't switch the noise off on my phone like completely. I can switch off some of it, but no other bits. I don't know how it works. I haven't a clue how it works. And so I think working with them to help them choose activities that fit the time, that will kind of flow in terms of, you can't do like baking and then leave it in the oven and go an hour away somewhere, you know, that just actually makes sense. And I do think when I'm doing a session, I feel I'm managing it in terms of time as well. I will check the time and I'll say, do you still want to go to the park if we've gone over that time? Just because you can't really expect them to remember that when they're completely distracted. So I don't really consider that directing, just sort of checking and making sure they know that if you start on plan A, you don't have to end on plan A, because it's real life and there's kids, and kids don't want to do the thing sometimes.
Yeah, and you can't.
That's quite nice if they kind of, you know, a little bit of drama. I love a little bit of drama in a session.
Oh dear. Yeah.
But I think that's like, it's an important distinction, like an important point, I think, to make, especially when someone is just starting out in documentary, family photography. And as we discussed, there's lots of rules thrown at you, like you don't touch anything, you don't tell them anything. But it's all fine if it's a day in a life, and then you don't touch anything, you don't tell them what to do. But if it's if you only have like 2 hours with them, you can't just show up and expect them to kind of just like do things, unless it's like someone who does it a lot and they just get on with it. You kind of have to pick something, because at the end of the day, yes, you're a documentary family photographer, but you're there to serve the client, and it will be a disservice to that client if you just go, do whatever, and then but I didn't get any pictures because you didn't do anything.
You played Lego for 2 hours. It's a lovely tower you built. Got one picture of it. There you go.
Exactly.
So all things like that. So actually, that activity you've suggested, I suggest we do more as well as that, because I know from experience photographing that activity, there's not going to be a lot of variety. So I suggest maybe I arrive when you're at the tail end of it or something. Like, so they want to do a 1,000-piece jigsaw because they're a jigsaw family. Don't start it when I arrive. It's obvious, isn't it? But I think you can have the confidence to part of your job is client care and it's service, and that isn't just taking photographs. It's building up their confidence to be themselves. It's enabling them to be themselves through planning activities, helping them afterwards with products and things. It's everything.
Yeah,
just one bit of it.
Yeah, and then eventually, like, especially if clients come back to you over and over, like every year, every couple of years, eventually you will get to that point where you don't have to tell them anything. And they just like, we're just going for a walk and you just hang out with us. And,
you can tell there's definitely a difference if I know that someone's contacted me and I know that they follow my work closely, they're definitely further ahead in the journey than someone who just happens to a family on the internet.
Yeah.
And that makes a really big difference. One family that I've done a couple of times now, initially I was recommended to her from a mum that I know from school, and she was booking me for like personal branding, headshot type stuff, and always saying, I really love your work, I really love your work. I'm like, okay, great, book me then. And eventually she did, and it was she specifically wanted, she wasn't going to be in the shoots, it was her day off, but she wanted pictures of her husband and her boys, and like, they're going out to do some, I can't remember what it was, some sort of jiu-jitsu lesson on the common, and then they always go to the sweet shop afterwards, and then they, and I'd like, they've got music to practice, and so it was like she clearly understood that I was going to be doing the things that they do on a Saturday morning. And since I've been back and they've moved house and I've done other stuff with them, and she knows she'll automatically pick a couple of activities that she thinks will fit in the time frame. She doesn't pick long sessions, she does shorter sessions, but she doesn't quite regularly, and captures different things in different sessions.
But she's on your wavelength, and that's whenever anyone books a half-day session with me as their first one, I get quite excited that they get it already.
Yeah.
And I've got one client, and it's the only session I might do this side of Christmas. It's a half day, and they're moving house. I think I mentioned it in a group chat somewhere. They're moving house, and this is like my perfect client. And then they're moving into a doer-upper, and it's just going to look amazing. And then she said, I don't think we can maybe move in straight away, but we take the keys on the first day, we can go and like look for frogs in the pond, maybe paint some of the kids' walls, they can paint. She said, that's photography gold, for you. Just to even say that to me, I should be paying her, but I'm gonna give her a free upgrade to a whole day. But then there's the whole, forgetting lockdown, that was kind of my plan. So that's the one thing I might do this side of Christmas.
Amazing.
You get so excited when certain bookings just have that feeling, and then there are others where you have clients who you've photographed for years, since maybe when you weren't. I don't know if any of your wrapped up babies, Antonina, are grown up, older now, and you're sort of doing documentary shoots, but you kind of bring the family with you, and I really appreciate that when they follow me in terms of the genre, and they kind of, we just don't talk about the early pictures. And I did one the other weekend, and the mum said, "You're training me. I bought a jumper that said imperfectly perfect, and I thought of you." And I was like, "Yes."
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, so,
yeah. But I think
I love that.
it's important to not give up on clients that maybe not quite there yet, because they will eventually get there. You know, you have someone for a short session and they're totally lifestyle, and then a few years down the line they book a day in a life shoot, like, and they're ready then, because they've sort of maybe they needed to spend like 2 hours with you first and kind of see if they even like you, because like to get a longer shoot they really have to like you. You don't want to hang out with, like, and I've had people who just booked the whole day without even ever speaking to me on the phone, but
no, which is nice sort of feeling.
it's a really nice feeling when they do that. But most people kind of, they want to get, you know, you a little better before they let you in properly.
Yeah.
So
I had one client who asked me to come and meet her kid before she booked me. And I said no, because it was an hour and a half session. And I said, look, I do a lot of nursery photography. I photograph 100 kids in a week who've never met me, and I get really good results. So you're just going to have to, I didn't say you're going to have to trust me, but I meant that, and I communicated that to her. And she later said, I could tell within a minute that she was going to be fine with you. And actually, if anything went wrong in that session, it was that the kid was so into me, she wouldn't like interact with the mum.
Had that when
I felt quite, I didn't quite know what to do, actually. No, I turned my back a few times and sort of, because I do this if I'm at a nursery.
That's my dog. That's like when my dog's jumping up, I turn my back.
Yeah.
It's effective.
I'm just not giving you the attention, you know. So I kind of did that a little bit. Yeah. So
actually, we have a question in the chat. What's considered a whole day? That's, I think, a good thing to talk about, because there's people call a day in the life different things. So the way I see it, my day in the life is from breakfast until bedtime. So it could be 12 to 14 hours. That's a whole actual family day. There are some people who kind of say it's 6-hour shoot as a day in the life, but it's when it's a family, it's not really.
That's half day. It's normally called a half day in the genre, isn't it? Yeah. I call it pyjamas to pyjamas, but as my kids have got older, and my eldest kid is going to sleep really bloody late, I'm thinking, actually, if I go and shoot a family where the kids stay up really late, then that's really quite a long day in the life.
18-hour day.
Yeah, so when I've done families with teenagers, I've got you don't have to turn up as early.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to market families with you, because I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
Really
so you don't turn up as early. So when I've done teenager families, you actually get there and it's the mum and dad on their own, which is quite nice.
Get the kids up.
And then the kids will eventually sort of
they're at lunchtime,
come downstairs at whatever point, you know, like, you know, some with bedhead or like kind of like zombified, and they'll eventually surface. And then I think they're generally prepped to get up a little bit earlier than they might normally, you know.
I so need to look into this. That sounds
it really works for me, because I'm not a morning person at all.
No.
And then I'll stay until they've had, because obviously with teenagers they're going to bed at midnight, you know, so I'll stay until after they've had their family dinner in the evening.
And then you're not photographing like bath time and anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not particularly interesting after that, you know, they're just sitting watching telly or in their room, so it's fine.
Yeah,
family dinner's a nice thing to capture, because
how many pictures would you like of them looking at their phone? Yeah. I've got one, a fortnight gaming one, which is one of my favourites, for 2 older boys. Yeah,
that's why I always say, like, a day in a life, family day in a life, is almost a harder and a longer shoot than a wedding, because a wedding can be 8 hours, and you also know, like, you know, at certain points you hit certain milestones within a wedding, and then you rest in between. You can have like an hour sit down while they're eating and all that. I used to photograph weddings. Whereas in a day in a life, it's a much longer day. You're on your feet a lot. You crouch a lot. You never know what's going to happen.
Weddings have got a formula, haven't they? Where there's a formula that you follow, and there's certain breaks that are natural pauses where nothing's happening. You don't need to keep shooting.
Or you can go hide in the toilet if you're really tired.
I think for pricing it as well, you're knackered the day after.
Oh gosh, yes.
And you know, it's not just the time you're there. I mean, it's obvious that the editing time is considerably longer.
But I would not ever book another shoot after the day in the life, because I would just not, I will not be able to perform my best.
Like, I've never run a marathon, but it feels that how I imagine it feels if you've run a marathon.
I bed all day after a day in the life.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I have to like just not do anything.
Yeah, no, I seriously feel like I've run a marathon the day before, even though I don't know what it feels like. It just that I'm so knackered. My body aches. You know, my muscles ache.
My brain aches as well.
Yeah.
The first time I did because I do an hour and a half, 4 hours on a day in life. The first time I did a 4 hour, I lined up. This is actually just going back to trusting the process. I lined up a friend to just do a portfolio build session. I said I want to do 4 hours with no direction. I want to test the process. I want to test how I physically feel shooting for 4 hours in one go, because I'd never done that before. And my thumb hurt at the end. I remember that, really having like an achy thumb. That was, so if, I guess for anybody doesn't do longer sessions yet, I think maybe it's like building this. I'm doing couch to 5K at the moment, which is this incredibly gradual, like trust the process thing about building up stamina. And it's just building it up and up. But you can't, the first time you do it, you'll be knackered. But doing that kind of shoot was a great idea for me, because I guess going back as well to think about how people learn. I think sometimes some people learn when they see evidence right at their faces, and that's the only way they're going to think, yeah, okay, I'm on board with this. They have to see it to believe it. So sometimes you just have to put yourself in a situation where you're shooting in this way with no direction, no fiddling about with anything, no interfering. Look at the pictures afterwards, and then your brain will take in the fact that they're better because the moments happened that you had no control over or influence on. And then see how you feel afterwards. I wouldn't do a whole day for free.
Don't feel like that's the only way to do documentary. Like, as we said, we don't really do that many day in our lives. Some photographers do, but like for me at my price point, obviously I'm not gonna get everyone booking that. But like, you don't have to. You can still do documentary with half days. Like maybe like breakfast, waking up, breakfast until like nap time, or like midday or lunch. That's a really nice chunk of a story to capture and build your stamina. And I remember when I was sort of switching, I was testing different lengths as well. So I was like, okay, what can I do at a 4-hour shoot? Okay, so can maybe 4 hours then become 3 hours? Can I, like, do I have to shoot for 4 hours? Maybe it can be shorter. So you keep trying and like figuring out what length works for you. And it's like, the only thing that I think is right or wrong is calling a day in the life a 6-hour shoot. That's not a day in the life.
No, my favourite is 4 hours. It's nice to get a bit of meal time, a bit of routine, and you just know that people are going to relax. Yeah. I think
I like a half day being around 4 or 5 hours, because I think it differentiates it a lot more from the full day as well. I feel if you get into sort of 6 hours, it's
almost like
blending into a longer, much longer session.
I call mine a morning in the life, and I say I'll do like 8 till 12 or 9 till 1. But actually, I do afternoons as well, depending on the light. At this time of year, an afternoon would be like lovely. But there's definitely, I've not got it right with my preference for getting up and like marketing these as a morning in the life at all. I turned up at 8 o'clock for an 8 o'clock shoot, and I was a teeny bit late, and their kids have been up like for so long already. I felt really bad. I've actually still arrived at like 8:05, and I've still missed the sort of getting out of bed stage.
I think I had one shoot where I was like 6:30. I think I had to be there because that's where they're waking up. Yeah, that was fun.
That's why some people stay overnight, isn't it? I think
I can't stay overnight. Like, I have to wake up in my own bed and like shower, even if it means like I have to wake up at 4.
I think if I've done something much further away, that makes sense. But
I in hotel with people, but it's just like I like if I can, I will send them. But actually, we have a question. How many photos do we normally take in a full day? And I guess take and deliver.
Does it really depends on the family? I mean, seriously, if you're taking photos of a teenage family, I did a day this time last year, and I think I came away with like 500-600 photographs, because they're just not doing as much.
And then how many of that?
Actually, because I think because also that thing where you shoot through moments with little kids and you end up with loads of photos. So the culling was actually quite easy because they were, when you're working with older kids, often you've got time to consider the moment a lot more.
Yeah, more static.
I shoot on bursts a lot with little kids with a lot of action.
Yeah, exactly. That's you can end up with 20 photos that you've got to narrow down to one. So you're timesing everything by 20. You end up with hundreds, don't you?
The thing to say is that you don't times the number of hours and the number of photos in the same way. The longer the shoot is, the fewer pictures you'll have per hour.
Yeah, that's true.
And you might have, so one way to think of a longer shoot is a few like mini shoots, like mini scenes. So there'll be scenes, or I say scenes, I mean there'll be like pockets of the day where you're not shooting, or you might try and shoot but nothing's really happening. The longer the shoot is, we can allow for that, and that's a bit of mental downtime, a bit of time to bond with the family as well.
That's something that's really important to realise as well, because I think when you first doing longer shoots and you're used to doing shorter shoots, you feel like you've got to be shooting all the time, and you can be at moments when you think nothing's feeling right, and it's like it's really boring. It's like, well, then that's fine, don't shoot at that time because nothing is happening. You might want to transition the shot or something, but it's okay not to shoot all the time.
The first proper day in the life I did, like a test, I thought that I had to shoot all the time, A, and B, not talk to them much. And, it was like a portfolio shoot, so that was fine. But I had the feedback from the mum was that the boys, it was my favorite dentist, toothbrushing family. And the mum said, like, the boys felt like, you were like almost creepy because you didn't talk to them. They really wanted to talk to you and play with you.
Don't put that on your testimonial.
they
almost creepy.
Kind of direction, and I was like, oh, yeah, I can play with them because I want to. Obviously, it's fun. Interact with the family and talk to the mom and dad a little bit and just chat, and that kind of gave me almost a permission to just down tools if I have to, and just eat with them, like, because I think even with that family I was like, I'm gonna eat in the corner.
Yeah, it's hard to sort of know, because I think if you're a conscientious person, then, and I would imagine that most people doing this genre are, because it's so bloody difficult, then you've got this really high work ethic, haven't you? And no one does stay in their life if they haven't got a high work ethic. So yeah, you've just got to be sensible. I tend to so I do a lot of 4 hour and 1.5 hour, and I definitely don't take that many more pictures. I take more, so 4 hour, but I don't take like twice as many. Yeah. And I pace it. And I think one of the things that whenever you ask for tips and tricks for documentary, the suggestion, the feedback that comes back so often is to slow down, to anticipate moments and think about what's happening, and really take time to think, setting up a scene, setting up a frame, looking for light. And the longer the session is, the more chance there are to slow down. So definitely pace the shooting. I don't know if we should talk about mini sessions. I've done mini sessions.
Do you do them? Do you still do them?
No, because
because I stopped doing mini sessions.
I tried once, and I was like, no.
My mini sessions journey has ended, and I gave myself permission to stop doing. So my mini sessions are the most profitable per day thing that I've ever done. And they're so quick, and you do them back to back. Because I factor in things like travel and admin when I work out, stuff like that. I'm such a geek with Excel. So I know that they were financially a really good thing to do, but I get some good pictures, so some that I really liked, but overall, it was just like, because the ratio of lifestyle to documentary was just a tiny bit, and.
So you were trying to do them on a documentary way, or like more lifestyle? I
was doing, so my family sessions it's documentary, but do you want portraits? If you do, we'll sit down, this is the portrait bit, we'll do it at the beginning, get it done. Mini sessions we'll do the portrait bit, that'll be half of it, then after that we'll just play, and I'll get documentary pictures. But that just play bit is literally 10 minutes.
Yeah, so this mini session, you're talking like half an hour, aren't you? So do you drive to people's homes to do the mini session?
Oh, good, no. So with
somewhere.
The whole business point of them is that you sort of stack them up. So
it's automatically more lifestyle because people are coming to somewhere.
Yeah, and they're all in the same place.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I do a lot of nursery photography, and I find that a lot of people would book me from my nursery clients would then book a mini session, then they book a family session. So this was kind of a little bridge that I put in for them to sort of try it out, really try out the process. But actually, I didn't have that many people come from mini to full family session because they were kind of quite happy with the minis. Because of course I over-delivered, gave them too many pictures. But I quite liked the fast pace and the adrenaline of that and sort of extrovert side of meeting people one after another. I actually really loved it, but I just didn't like the pictures, apart from the odd one or two.
I try mini sessions and they're just so not me because I actually need more time. I can't do, well, obviously I deliver, pictures that clients are happy with, but like for me, I felt like I wasn't doing my best in the 20 minutes that I had. And it's bound to be more lifestyle. And it just felt such a,
they feel more staged and it just doesn't feel.
Yeah. And with family,
what I do.
So you say, would you like portraits? Plenty of people that say no, but everybody booking mini session wants portraits. You've got that higher ratio as well. But I think
that's true. They're wanting something different. If they're booking a mini session, they just want portraits really, and that's what they'll be picking. So it's quite clear when you see one. Yes. You might think, oh, I've got a really lovely shot of them doing work, and actually what they want is the
that's the whole
front on portraits of their kids.
Yeah.
We have a great question actually in the chat. How do you market a half day in the life or day in the life to get people on board with the idea? I've never had any interest in a shoot longer than my usual 90 minutes, but then I probably haven't really done any marketing around it either. So how do we market longer shoots?
It's something got to do with pricing as well. I mean, if you're giving too much away in your small shoots, they're not going to go to the bigger shoots. So you've got to up the price rather of your shorter shoots, so that the perceived value of a longer shoot is lower, and you're not giving things away. That's a key thing, that your pricing needs to push people up to the value of a longer shoot.
You can also best and push that and price it to push that. So you might, if longer sessions are your thing, like why are they your thing? Is it because the type of pictures you get are more your taste because you're going to more different places? You might be there might be more people involved or something. So show pictures, show whole sessions, so show slideshows, that's what you used to say, or show like blog posts with say 20 pictures in, the sort of thing you could never fit into an hour and a half. Maybe you have pajamas on, then you have an activity at home, then you have a shot in the car, a location shot, coming home, a meal. You're not logistically possible to do that in an hour and a half. So you're showing people what they could get. I always remember as American photographer Alex, I never remember her surname, begins with G, I think it was her. So she did this Facebook post once, and it was a shot of two kids sitting in an airport window. And she wrote this whole thing about how if you were going to hire me for an hour, we'd never do it at the airport. You'd never book me for an hour just in this location. But the longer the session is, we can include these things. And this shot was beautiful. And it was incredible. It only happens because it's part of a longer day. And that really worked for me. I was, that's such a good message to send to people.
I think it's sort of constantly talking about, like, pricing is one of it. Just sort of targeting generally people who appreciate longer sessions, and that comes with sharing images and talking about how precious it is and how, real life, and kind of driving that message, like it's real life, it doesn't happen in an hour. Showing, as Alice said, like pictures in their pajamas, pictures at bedtime, reading books together, cooking together, that doesn't really happen, or like like on the toilet pictures, even like of little kids. Things that wouldn't normally happen on a lifestyle shoot, because that's what
and automatically, if you're doing that sort of thing, because the backdrop of every photograph is so different, it's really clear that it's not just taken in one moment. And what you find if you're looking at lifestyle photographs, it's very similar, all the shots are quite similar, the lighting is similar, the location is similar, everyone's looking the same, and they don't have time to change their clothes or dress up or whatever else it is they do. It's a very samey feel, so it's a very coherent set of pictures. In terms of the colour and light.
And there's no story in it.
Yeah.
It's a chapter.
Yeah.
So when you have a long session, there's a story arc to it, and you can really build on that in the way you market it. I think I'm a really good marketer in my head, but I'm really shit at actually doing it practically. I used to be really good at marketing when I worked for other people, but I just don't give it time.
People, that's for sure.
So I've never done this, but you can write all these amazing, like, you know, marketing materials at blogs, whatever, about just explaining how the story is richer and longer, and it's got, you know, a bit of character to it.
It's got flavour, it's got peaks, props, quiet moments, noisy moments, you know, busy moments, serene moments. It's just clean moments. It's got a lot more flavour.
Yeah, I would say if you want us to get started with day in a life shoots or half days, actually do some portfolio shoots, like find friends. Don't like do a model call, like approach friends that you know are going to make good material for your portfolio shoot, and just do it with them, and then put together a slideshow and just stick it on your portfolio page on the website. Like, this is a day in a life, and showing all the stages from early morning until bedtime. And then people will, once they see it, they will get it. Yeah, I think with photography, a lot of it is showing. You can't explain things, but you have to show.
And the other thing is not just showing what you think is good, but connecting with them about the things they think are bad. So the amount of people who say, "Oh, I don't want a longer shoot because my kids won't last that long."
Oh,
yeah. So my imperfectly perfect jumper woman, a week before, had emailed me and said, because we did a 4, actually, "Can we do 3 hours? I don't think the kids will last that long." So I was like, okay, right, listen to this. And then you have to explain that the longer you shoot, the easier it is for everybody. Yeah. But, you know, you can't expect clients. So clients don't know what documentary is, what life is. You can't expect them to appreciate that. You've got to, I think, really keep going on about it a little bit. And it is fucking exhausting, let's be honest, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully we're paving the way for the next generation of documentary photographers, and then everyone will know all about it.
Shall we talk a little bit more about personal work? Oh, first of all, we haven't shown any of Alice's pictures. We just assumed.
Oh, that's true.
I sent you millions. I thought people might not want to look at our faces the whole time. No offence.
We're really gorgeous. I wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, and of course we all came coordinate like some kind of middle-aged girl band with our scarves on.
So, what's happened here? Oh, I know what I'm doing. Sorry, it's me being non-techie again. So, what did we want to do?
I don't know.
Are we talking?
Oh dear. Look at pictures.
So we talked all about family work already, so I can't show those pictures now. It's like they're going to be not relevant. I'm stuck.
What you can't show?
all the stuff with family. I should have been showing all the family stuff now, but we were so.
Well, let's show them quickly, and then we'll can talk about.
We're so interesting that we didn't need the proper photographs.
I'm sure people might like something else to look at for a minute.
Let's have a look, because there's some lovely ones here.
And then maybe if there's a particular story attached to it, Alice, you can sort of just.
Right, I'm just gonna.
Any news while we're waiting for the technical?
So I'm there. I'm there. Shush.
Yeah, there we go.
I just sent this picture to my local parish council lady because they want to close down this tennis court, and I'm evidencing that it's not a tennis court.
I love this. It's the pink and yellow, isn't it? It's just ace. I love it.
I don't know if Chuck is still watching. Maybe he's got fed up and put together. I don't know. I feel I took this picture because of him. Because I did Chuck's DFP class called Creating Deeper Documentary Imagery, which is just open for another run. Although I'm sure it's not as good as the Real Chat mentoring, which is starting in January, that I'm sure you might have a couple of places left on. I can't win. But that class is incredible. And in the first week we looked at lines and shapes. I've always loved lines and shapes. Back when I was taking shit pictures like 12 years ago, I was taking lots of pictures of circles, badly. So what I kind of learned from that is I can see things in real life much better without the camera. Does that kind of make sense? So I just felt I could see these elements in the world in a better way. So I saw this scene and stood there like not breathing for several minutes until this came together. And there's only a teeny little crop on it.
So that's about slowing down, and like you had a picture in your head and you trusted that if you just waited that something might come together, so you were not running around and chasing the picture. You were like, this is the...
No, so I did that thing where, so this is my family, this is my local park. We go to the park, I take my camera, I do fuck all parenting, and I stand there taking pictures. So this is a classic, on the sidelines behind the lens stuff. And I loved how the bike is like is almost perfect. I love it when there's just, it's nearly perfect, but it isn't. It's like teasing with perfection, but it's not.
It wouldn't look right. It wouldn't be right if it was perfect.
No, it's that disruption of perfection that really kind of gets me going. Like,
that's what makes it feel authentic and real, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can. So we haven't talked about this, but when we talk about trusting the approach, you can just see, you can tell if something is set up. Like, I took a picture years ago, 4 kids, siblings bouncing on a bed, and I thought it was my best pictures for ages. Look at it again, they're all facing the same way. And I had asked them, are you allowed to jump on the bed? Show me jumping on the bed. And you can just tell it's fake. So the other thing I love about this way, so it's my kids, so I really like it, is that you have something that's set up to be played with or engaged in a certain way, and people are engaging with it differently. So this was a race to that little yellow spot. So the bike's been abandoned, and the sort of thing in the picture has been repurposed into something else. And kids do that. Kids find their own way to interact with the world. And I thought,
one of the things I love is observing how kids use things, how they're not supposed to be used.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what appealed to me. But just that I love colour. So I like colour matching and matching in a way that it's you know what I mean? Like not matching clothes, but matching elements.
Repeating colour, yeah.
Yeah. So it's order out of chaos. I love that. I love it when elements of a picture, like I never want to say graphical or graphic photographs. I always feel a bit weird saying graphic photographs. But you know what I mean? When there's like shapes, shape elements.
Shapes, colours. That's the whole basis of street photography, isn't it?
Yeah.
With shapes and repeating patterns of things.
Yeah.
I'm just moving on just to show them all, because this is gorgeous as well. Gorgeous in its.
That's one of my favourites.
So I do take pictures of other people as well, but this is mine as well.
Oh, sorry, I'm flicking through a bit fast. I've realised it's already.
We've been talking for an hour now,
so I'm just going to go through a little bit faster.
Okay. So just on this one,
raw and real.
Yeah, but
not graphical at all.
This was just really quick on that last one. That was my kid's first tooth coming out. Very dramatic and painful, but completely over dramatic reaction from her, which was funny. So I don't know if it quite reads, but I like that Dad's got a tiny sort of smile on his face.
Yeah.
Behind her back, we're laughing at her, and then I'm openly laughing at her to taking the picture. But we're also either side of her caring for her. So I wanted to kind of capture that. But we are going to laugh at you crying your little head off for an hour about it.
It does look quite gruesome, though. To give her fair dues, it looks quite gruesome.
There were 2 teeth, and because there was so much water coming down her face, the blood was running more than it would normally have done. The day after this, the second one came out in waterstones in like 10 seconds.
Oh, well, she learned how to do it.
Yeah.
So this is what we were talking about, like shooting into the light, isn't it? Where you start getting a silhouette and you get the light around it.
Yeah. The one after this one, I photographed this family from the very early days. I've got baby pictures of this kid on that blanket, which no one will ever see.
Nice.
When he was a bit older, he had it round his neck, like a little cape. So I love that there are elements in this which for the family are meaningful because it goes back a few years. But for me, I love how I've used this prop essentially in a way that is reflective of what the work I do now. And then that little wreath in the top, that's a wedding day wreath. So I kind of like putting elements in that might not be meaningful to other people, but they're meaningful to the client and me.
Yeah. This one, so I have to just slightly, I'm digressing from your pictures. I've got to show you a picture. I've got a picture of Elsie upside down reading in this position. I keep forgetting to send it to you because I'm like,
we had a chat about this.
This is so so much like, in fact, they should meet. They both like being upside down all the time, don't they?
Upside down.
Yeah, upside down.
We were talking about, so I love to photograph quirks. I really like quirks and little weird things about people, and embracing that and sort of championing that about people. You know, you don't have to hide these little weird things about yourself, like shout about them, and I'll shout about them for you. So she goes upside down all the time. She's watching telly completely happily. And this is a thing that some people with sensory issues do. They put themselves upside down to reconnect their brain with their physical surroundings. I'm only just learning about it. I think I might be pre-diagnosis with this one, possibly. But yeah, so that is very much, as well as looking a bit like an oil painting, bless her.
Yeah, I love
Yes.
that.
An upside down oil painting.
I do these shots a lot when I go to the playground, and I feel completely sick afterwards. But it was lovely.
I wouldn't be able to stay up. Like, the older I get, the less I'm able to like thin.
One day I'm going to actually vomit in a session if I'm not careful doing that.
This is it. I love this.
Yeah.
This is a family that I shoot every year. I'm going way back there on a loyalty mate, and we don't have to even talk about what we're going to do. I just turn up, and they just give me these amazing moments.
Is it the family that you said like does Elsa stuff and those things, or is it a different family?
This one was my first ever shoot after lockdown, the first lockdown, when we had to do 2 meters distance.
Yeah.
And I could not keep up with these kids who hadn't been out much. I think they were like, freedom!
2 meters distance.
But it really helped me to start to see far further away scenes, having to,
Interesting.
I
love this one because
I like the spiral in it.
Oh, sorry. I really like this one because they're framed in this little circle here.
And I wish they'd have had red on or something. That's the only thing.
Yeah. If they'd have been brighter clothes, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because I've seen this picture on Instagram, very small, and it feels much more epic, obviously, when it's bigger. So some images are just like because I can see more stuff now.
Yeah.
That kind of all the lines, a little path, and the chalk, and whatever it is. It's just so nice.
I love things like this as well, where actually it takes you a while.
Bench is kind of a crooked bench as well.
Yeah, I love it when it takes you a while to find the person in a photograph.
Yeah.
That little action shot.
Yeah.
I know. I like all the parents like parenting at the same time as well, and trying to keep them on the thing. Or you do that as well, don't you? Where the little one isn't really on this, but you're like it's on it because the dad's running alongside with the big one. Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
I like that one.
So one bit of directing I always do is I try and get a crossing the road shot, and I always say to the bigger kids, I'm going to go ahead, I might run across the road, don't follow me.
Yeah.
I always actually do that.
Yeah. I love those kind of shots.
I just like the colour of this one, that's why I stuck this one in here.
That balloon is a glow in the dark balloon.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
This one made me chuckle when I was looking at it, because I actually didn't realise. I was like, oh, he's playing badminton, but she's playing with ball. I was like, oh, this
I remember
ball.
I hope Chuck's still watching. This is from his course. This is about balance, and I mean so my kid went to a party, and it was a glow in the dark party, and all the lights were off the whole time. And then I was like, right, I'm going to just have some fun and play with the challenge of how on earth you take pictures. So I took loads of pictures, shooting for highlights of the glow in the dark accessories the kids had, like little bunny ears and necklaces and bracelets and things. And then obviously when it's a very dark situation, whether it's in a house or whatever, you can play with motion. You kind of almost do it more because you've got fewer opportunities to shoot fast and freeze it. So yeah, they were all running to dinner, and then I wanted to capture them with a background.
It's a great background.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Wrong way. Sorry. I just like that. I like kids being weird, so.
Yeah, I like kids being weird, because they are weird.
I like this as well. This is that parenting thing, like, active parenting, where both parents are parenting at the same time, but the close crop is great on that to tell the story.
Yeah. I've always liked going quite close, and I do miss that. And I've got, like, when I shoot now, I wear like a cotton thing around my face, around my neck, and I do that. It stays up. So I can pull it with one hand, hold my camera, but I'm not getting as many close pictures at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm finding that quite frustrating.
This is cute. Little needing the toilet.
Yeah.
And other kids, I obviously like kids that are floppy or have things on their heads.
This is the kid being eaten by the shark, Dad.
Oh, is it her?
I love this family. Yeah.
That's
But that's a year ago. That was the last year's one. And
This
I love it because the dad's not reacting to the kids. It's just generally
it's literally hysterical because the kids have obviously completely covered him in water and he's squealing and they've just gone on and they're totally ignoring him. Brilliant. So I like all the humorous ones.
Yeah.
For sure. So hello, it's us again. Oh, lovely faces.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about nurseries actually, because I think that's quite an interesting, I do a couple of nurseries as well each year. I think it's quite an interesting way of filling the downtime in a week, because I think when you're a family photographer, a lot of the action happens at the weekend. So it's really useful to be able to find ways to monetize the middle of the week or normal weekdays. And, through, I don't know, personal branding, commercial work, nurseries is perhaps less common use of the weekdays. And it's great. So I do a couple like you. I think you do more than me. But the theory is that they are quite a good vegetable patch for growing into proper clients.
metaphor of the day.
But it doesn't always work in practice for me. I think what I've got is I've got two, and one of them is a good vegetable patch, and the other is a bit not so good. Yeah.
When I was all inclusive and cheaper, I had a really good transfer rate from nursery parents to family parents. Sometimes do mini sessions. I don't have as many now, but I still do have some. And when you talk about marketing, how much effort you spend getting an advert out somewhere, doing sponsored Facebook advertising, whatever, if you can show parents a picture of their own kid that you've taken, how much more powerful is that?
Yeah, and plus the fact you're getting paid for doing it at the same time.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different pace scale. It's different rates really to normal, but you're still you're getting free advertising. You're not even getting free advertising. You're getting paid to advertise to quite a good hopefully a good demographic.
To pick your nurseries well. So I go to Montessori, forest schools, outstanding. So it's not in the UK. There's a national level of how good a nursery is. So I go to the good ones. And I go to ones like, I never quite understand there's this legal difference between the ones that LEA run, the state run ones and private ones. But basic rule of thumb is if they close in half term, then generally the parents might not spend as much. And then if you go to a super duper posh one, they might not spend as much because they're that level of posh where their wallet has moths in it, that kind of like super posh, not spending.
But they also, I think super posh sometimes don't want school photo, they don't want that look of photo.
They want documentary, I think.
Yeah. So the one thing about nurseries is it's completely different to families. Your first client is the nursery. And they've got to say yes to you. They're not hiring you, but they've got to let you in. And you've got such responsibility to represent their nursery to the parents. So I have a much higher ratio of smiles in my nursery pictures. I don't have any dangerous, funny, unclean pictures. I made some mistakes with showing pictures that nursery have been unhappy with because they thought something looked a bit unsafe. It wasn't, but in the picture I accept it did. So they're giving you this incredible amount of trust by letting you photograph whatever you like. So
yeah, because traditionally someone comes with their backdrop and the children are brought on, and it's all smiles and there is no danger involved.
Smiles,
yeah, you're not really showing them in their surroundings, the children, but that there's no element of risk for the nursery.
Yeah, you really are letting, like a parent feels vulnerable, like if they hire you for a few hours coming to the house, they're not dressed up, that you do feel vulnerable doing that. Okay, I'm going to let this person in, show our real selves. Someone who owns a company, who, you know, responsible,
livelihood's on the line, isn't it?
Yeah, so you do have to respect that and work with them, and I talk to my nurseries about what their ethos is, and lots of them are very outdoorsy. So they've got all this inside space, they've got a playground space, and they've got a woodland space. So for 2 of my nurseries, we do all of the shots in the woodlands, and the kids have this routine every day. Each age group goes at a different time, so I just stay in that one place all day and I shoot them in that place. But Montessori, they might like you to shoot inside with them, using some of their like wooden toys and stuff. So, but kids are kids wherever you go, the kids are going to do exactly the same stuff. So I mentor in nursery photography, and I'm working on a self-paced course, although I'm not actually done much of it yet, actually. But I find that it's one of those things where you can easily get into it and find yourself drowning a little bit, because it's like setting up a business from scratch. Your workflow is different, your customer is different, your type of shooting is different, your editing workflow is different, pricing is different, your fulfillment is different. And you really have to have a process, because it's a volume game. You have to have a kind of well-oiled process to make it worthwhile, because your prices are lower.
Balancing the pricing, especially like with the nurseries, and how do you then upsell them essentially to a full scale? So there's a very fine line there. So you have to make sure that the products are different, so that you can justify that the price is different, and all that.
Yeah. So I do like framed. I do prints in little cardboard frames. So I don't call them frames, I just call them, you know, prints. They're just really cheap ones, but there's a market sort of standard where you get your school photos, you get your nursery photos, and the quality prints is fine. It's not fine art prints. I know of photographers who've done fine art prints for nursery and have complaints that it's not proper photo paper. There's no point going fancy with nurseries.
People want to get the pictures really cheaply in nursery, because that's the standard for school photographs. So they don't understand the difference in time it takes for someone like us going in and shooting something more natural to somebody who's got a formula of people walking past a backdrop and taking the pictures.
10 times more than the guy with the white background.
Yeah.
And I don't price a lot higher, but what I do is I'm priced to sell digitals, not prints, because it takes me, so I'm really geeky with this. So I know how long it takes me to process a digital order and a print order. And it's about efficiency. It's so much more efficient to sell digitals. And then it's more profitable. My nursery photography used to be my most profitable thing when I started. So I really built that up. I did one a month, got a lot of family clients from there. And as my family pricing's got better, it's dropping down a little bit. And this is a thing I'm gonna start to drop off a little bit over the next few years, I think, partly because it's really, really hard work. And as I get older, you know, you've got to think ahead with your business planning. In 5 years' time, I am not running around a playground trying to shoot 100 kids in a week.
It's extremely time consuming for the return, I think. And it's exhausting. But I think if you're starting out, it's actually, like you said, you did it when you started out, it's actually a really valuable way of
it's essentially networking, isn't it?
It's networking, it's getting a potential client base, getting your name out there, and you're practicing as well.
You're also getting commercial clients from it, headshots for parents. I've got conference event photography from parents at the nursery. This is why you've got to pick the right nursery. So you pick a nursery that's outstanding, that has decent fees, but not too high fees. The parents will have good jobs. They're working in organisations that hire photographers. The opportunity to market yourself, so you deliver the photos and you say special offer, so much off a session, a family session with limited time, and then you'll get a little flood of bookings. And what's so good is if you do get a family booking for a kid you've shot at nursery, you know the kids, and it's more fun, and I love that. And I love going to nurseries because I have the same ones and I feel like they're my colleagues, kind of. And when you do this job, you sit on your own in a room a lot. And I love sort of going to the same places, and Feels nice.
I like seeing the kids get older as well.
I love that. And the characters sort of really coming through. I find the older they get, the easier they are to shoot and the more enjoyable.
Oh, yeah, you get really shy. The little ones, yeah, where they could hardly bear to look at you, or won't, or refuse to leave the keyword.
So just on the documentary front, so I do documentary pictures, but I also do portraits. I think of them as environmental portraits. Like for the real outdoorsy forest school ones, we sit them under a tree, and it's just a couple of those. Then I do them like climbing the tree and running about, throwing sticks at each other and things like that.
Do you always, when you're doing the document, obviously when you're doing a portrait one, it's easy to make sure that you've not got anything in the background. But obviously you've got to be really super careful with nurseries that you're not photographing other kids in the picture. So what do you do to prevent that from happening? Do you go in close? Do you stop down? Put your f-stop down.
I know to say it.
I know, you know what I mean, don't you? Blur out the background if I
shoot with a 50, so that I never shoot with a 50.
No.
I shoot for this because I can be taking a portrait 1 minute, one moment, and literally 10 seconds later taking an action shot. So with a 50, I don't have that 35 frame content, with extra arms and legs. Every now and again I might use layering for effect, but it's just not worth trying really, because
you've got to be so careful, haven't you?
Yeah. So I do go in close a lot, which is another thing that's really hard at the moment. I did my last couple with an 85 on, and that was easier, but I just
go so close.
Feel as much. The other thing I do is I shoot up a lot. So I get them climbing trees, and you'll find with outdoor nurseries that kids at nursery take turns to do things a lot. So they'll line up in a little line to go on the rope swing or climb the tree. So you just position yourself under the tree and shooting up.
So do you shoot one child at a time, or do you just like kind of shoot and then pair up the child later?
So I have a spreadsheet and a clipboard, and I take my printout and my spreadsheet with me, and everything is like perfectly organised. And I train in this as well, but do whatever you like. I know people who walk in with a camera and nothing else and wing it. Well, I'd wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat if I did that. So I know in advance the kids' names and what day they're in. So I know, I plan, I'll do about a third. So I split the day or the morning into age group sessions or nursery room sessions, wherever they do it. And within each session, about a third of it is sitting down pictures. And I know who I'm going to do, because I know they're not in the rest of the week or something. And then after that, then I just shoot whoever looks interesting. But bearing in mind, I've only got today with this kid. And if a kid is really shy or too confident, like, oh, take my picture, then I'll just ignore them till the next day based on their timetable. And
then you have to pair up the more documentary photographs with your portrait and make sure you've got the right child.
So then I put them into Lightroom and I keyword every single picture with a keyword which includes data for the nursery, the year, the day of the week, and the kid's name and the room they're in. So that when I finished, this takes me an hour, a whole morning in a nursery, I'll do the keywording in an hour. And then with the editing, I just go, show me all the, I answered that by mistake instead of go away. Show me all the pictures of this kid, and then I edit them. And it takes me, on average, about 7.5 minutes to edit a kid.
This is giving me hives, just, hearing you talk about like spreadsheets and all that. Like, this is not something that I would ever want to do.
It's not for everybody.
Not for everybody,
you can do it. So the person who went before me in one of the nurseries, and I guess there's a reason why they switched her, possibly. They said she used to walk in with a camera and they'd follow her around with a list and a highlighter pen, ticking off who they'd seen her photograph. Ooh, that made me think,
I do something more similar to you, where I have a clear idea of who's in on different days and who I have to shoot, and who I prioritise, and
But I mean, it's like organised chaos, but I love that. I do sibling shot. So when I first started, I didn't do any sitting down portraited pictures, but I had requests to do it, and they sold really well. And it is another way of making sure there's only one kid in the frame. But that's such a good thing to raise about.
How many do you show to parents when you're doing that? How many pictures do they get, like, to look at?
So now in Shootproof, I can hide the number of pictures. It's a lot easier. I don't have to do the same number. So my pricing is based on 4 or 6 or all, and my all is I aim for at least 7 of each kid. But if I was starting from scratch with new nurseries, I probably would take that a bit lower. But I do like to show quite a lot of documentary pictures to see if I can get that interest in the family sessions. The one thing that you've got to do with nurseries is you've got to accept that only a certain percentage you're going to buy, and of all the ones, whether they or not, only a certain percentage that's getting lower and lower each year are going to give you permission to use them in your portfolio. So there's a lot of waste with photographs. You've just got to do it quickly.
Yeah, you have to be quick and efficient, because it's just not worth it otherwise.
Yeah. So it suits me to be quick and efficient. I quite like shooting like that. So it's the complete opposite to the slow down thing. But then I'll take enough pictures of one kid, and 3 days later they'll hang upside down from a tree, pulling up, they'll just do something really interesting, and I'm totally shooting that, and then I'll add that in, so I don't edit until I've done the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Can we briefly talk about, because we're nurseries, and sort of about commercial work in terms of, how to make a documentary, because, all of us do various types of commercial work, from like, personal branding, like, artists and makers, to like lifestyle shoots for bigger brands. But I just want to talk in terms of, because it's clearly a growing trend to use real life imagery for like bigger, like even Tesco's now have this amazing campaign of real life photography. But obviously it works slightly differently when you're working for a company, where you do have to kind of set up stuff a little bit or a lot in order to get the shots that they want. You can't just rock up and go, oh, you just, do whatever. So it'd be nice to chat about it, and then sort of encourage people to also price things right.
So there's this incredible opportunity, I think, coming, and it's probably already here, where, yeah, exactly, it's more of a thing. And we're this talent pool which is going to get fished from a bit more and more and more. And I think it's really important that everybody in it knows their value.
Yeah, very important, because as soon as someone starts pricing lower, that shoots everybody in the foot.
Yeah. And that's often why brands would go to family photographers, is that they think we don't know how commercial rates work.
Yes.
They can downplay us. And I certainly had conversations with really big brands in the past where they had completely wrong expectations, and I basically didn't shoot for them in the end. But there's a different kind of pricing, because you're taking pictures for them, and they will make money off those pictures. So
the value of the pictures.
Yeah. It's about what are they going to use the pictures for, and how much money are they going to make using the photographs. And the bigger the company and the bigger the campaign, the more they stand to make from the pictures. So that only stands to reason that you need to be fairly compensated for that.
Yeah. So when you're pricing your family work, you price based on your cost of business, what you want to earn, etc. Yeah. And everyone can have a different price point, but there's still this range where you don't undercut the industry. But with family photography, with commercial photography, for anyone that doesn't know, there are resources on the internet. There's Getty and there's Association of Photographers, and these two organisations have calculators online. So you can go to the AOP calculator and the Getty calculator, and it can get quite complicated, but you can put in information based on what they want to use it for, which indicates how much value they will get from it. And that will give you a
section by, it takes into account things like what industry it is. And so because different industries will be more expensive and less, the higher value industries, and how long it's going to be used for, what it's going to be used for, and all of these things have an impact on how much you should be charging. It's the licensing, basically. So you should be charging your daily rate, whatever that is, for the photography, the physical photography, turning up, doing the shoots, and editing it afterwards, and your expenses and things like that. That's one part of it. Then there's the licensing, and that's complicated. But there are resources available, and it's really important to understand your value, or the value of your pictures.
And I don't do that licensing much, but we talk about print releases. I used to work in used to be a copyright and contracts executive for a year way back in the day, which is quite interesting. And I learned quite a bit about how you license things. And I would grant licenses for usage. And when we give print releases, I don't think we think about what we're doing, but we're effectively licensing the images to the families.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll obviously, we'll give an unlimited time license, unlimited use for personal use. But with commercial, you have to really break that down, because if they're going to earn, if they're going to earn like £100,000 a year from the images you make, suddenly after 10 years they've earned £1 million. So the license you give them has this incredible variation in value to it. So you don't just go, here's a print release, use the images. You go, how long do you want to use them for? Where do you want to use them? How do you want to use them for? And this is the information you can exactly put into these AOP Getty calculators, and it will spit a number out at you. And you say, this is the market rate for these images. After that, you can negotiate,
It's a good point to start with, though. It's a good place to start, to make sure that the people you're negotiating with understand that you understand. Because, and that they, although they're not there, they may be bypassing an agent, or maybe you've got an agent who's doing it for you, but that they do understand the market, and I think generally they understand, and they're trying to undercut by coming direct to a photographer, thinking that you don't understand. So it's really important to make that mark in the sand. Say, look, I get it. I understand this market, and you do too, and we need to be fair about this.
When you do this calculator for the first time, especially if your family pricing is maybe on the lower end, you sort of just starting, and you run the numbers through AOP or Getty calculators, it spits this massive number at you, and you're like, there's no way anyone would pay me that, but they do. You might have to negotiate it a little bit, because maybe you're not as experienced, and maybe there's less images, or maybe it's like a smaller campaign, maybe you have
a budget. They'll have a budget as well, and to a certain extent their hands will be tied, but there's always a bit of wiggle room. So there'll be other costs on that project, that campaign. The photographer is one cost, the models are another cost, the location house is another cost. If they've got a really strict budget for photography, they can just downsize their budget for something else. I did a big campaign, and I asked for some details for the families, and I ended up being sent information I probably shouldn't have seen. The piece of paper or the bit had the amount they were being paid on, and I remember thinking, if I needed to feel justified in what I was getting, I now do. And they were being paid on a licensing basis as well. So
cases were being used.
Yeah, and the other thing that's you can have in mind when you're looking at when you're in the negotiation stages, they'll have a budget for a year. So if they want 3 years worth of pictures, and their budget is a half of the market rate or a third of the market rate, go, okay, well, I'll give you 1 year's license, and then in a year's time you can look at relicensing, and you'll have next year's budget. So yeah, I think we all feel that we all feel that our community is vulnerable to being ripped off by people who know damn well what our pictures are worth. And we don't want that to happen, because we want to protect the industry, but also the people in it. And I think it's very, very exciting. I think we're all hoping this is going to happen more and more, that more of us are going to get approached for stuff. But yeah,
don't be afraid. Like, I wouldn't want to encourage everyone to, like, if you get approached for commercial work, don't be afraid to ask in this group, or groups that specialize in commercial photography specifically. I mean, we doing more and more, and we get more experience with that as well. And we'd rather help you figure out what to charge so that the standards remains on level, so we don't shoot ourselves in the foot as an industry. So please come for help and look for help. Don't just sort of try and wing it if you've not done it before.
And just on the type of photographs, there's two types of licensing. One, they can approach you with a picture you've already done, say, can we license this picture? And I've seen really big numbers for one picture. Which is amazing. You don't have to get out of bed for that. And the other thing is you shoot, and that, don't underestimate how much work that is. The preparation, the pressure on the day, the work afterwards, things that can go wrong.
And the other thing that's quite scary when you are doing a shoot rather than being approached for a specific photograph, because nothing can really go wrong with that unless you can't get model release for the picture. But that's something separate that they need to, you know, will happen or won't happen. But when you're on a commercial shoot, you're contracted, and the contract is something like you've never seen before, and there's a different type of pressure, because if something goes wrong, you can be liable for damages and reshoots and all sorts of things. So there's
have insurance anyway, or have insurance if you're going to go anywhere near a commercial contract. And also, do not sign a commercial contract unless someone who understands contracts has looked at it. I was sent one which was a blanket service contract.
They're generally like that, aren't they? They'll go to their legal department and just send you a service contract, which is not necessarily relevant to a photographer.
So if I'd have signed the one I had, it would have given all intellectual property, which includes copyright, which basically is image licensing, to the company before they even, it would have negated the need to pay, because that's a bog standard, that's a consultant style thing. So
that's the same here. So they had the way that they'd written, there was a service provider contract and then something else as well. And the way that they'd done it, without they obviously didn't realise they'd done it, because it was just something they handed out. The contract overrode the details of what we'd agreed, and it just needed rewording so that what we'd agreed overrode the contract, or that was taken out.
No one's got your back in that process. You're on your own with it, and that can be really scary and intimidating. So I mean, I think there's potential value in having an agent, because you can get these jobs and then someone's going to have your back. But obviously you're going to give a percentage away. It does kind of appeal to me in potential situations.
It does appeal to me. It's like they can deal with all that sort of stuff.
Well, it's because without the knowledge that they have, it's really hard to negotiate. I don't mean negotiate, but I mean, there's negotiating. There's two things that you're negotiating. There's the actual negotiations of pay and licensing things. Then you're actually negotiating all of the difficulties that you've never come across before, because you're not experienced in that field, and they can hold your hand and point out the pitfalls and sort of wrap you up and lift you up, so that you don't have to. It's like anything, isn't it? It's like learning photography. I'm so old. I've been doing it for years, and I had to learn everything before the internet was really kind of telling you all sorts of stuff. Now there's all this lovely stuff that helps you get have a jump start, and it's like that. The agent is there to help you get that, to wrap you up and deliver you.
They want to make money, so they want everything to be a success. So I've been in situations where the shoot, an hour into a whole day, could have been shut down instantly because of a spot check from a governing body that was completely legal, just wasn't planned, and there was a little hiccup, which it was like this close, and nothing I could have prepared for could have, stopped that. So there are lots and lots of things to kind of just be very careful of, and it can be a bit scary, but there are people who've done it. We don't tend to talk about it as much though, and I think we could maybe change that. Like you said, Antonina, we
need to talk about it, because I think that's where our strength is. If we all sort of hide behind I'm not going to tell anyone anything, that undermines us as an industry. And because all the producers, all the agents, all the marketing managers, they are talking to each other. So we need to talk about this stuff too.
And just safety in numbers, isn't there? If we all stand together, we're stronger as a unit than individuals.
Definitely. And we're talking about the approach to shooting as well. So quite often, if they're hiring you to shoot rather than licensing an image already shot, then you have to get in this whole murky stage of, okay, you say you want documentary images, that's why you come to me as a documentary image, but from what you've told me, we're going to set up everything. You're going to pay a fortune to have this looking person in that looking situation with this exact product. So it's basically lifestyle with a bit of chaos feel chucked in sometimes.
It is. It's so everything is set up, because it kind of has to be set up, because it's got to show the products and or the feel, whatever they're trying to get across in the campaign, but shot in a free way.
And the people booking you will not understand, like our clients don't necessarily understand the nuances between genres, that they won't understand that these golden moments of documentary real life that happen in a day in the life shoot, one frame out of like 3,000, can't just happen in half an hour in a hired set with people who aren't related to each other, who just look nice together.
Oh, the other thing that makes me chuckle is that because you're also working with all sorts of, like, a team of people, like, you know, hair and makeup and stylists and things like that, and they're all about 23
And beautiful.
but they have a vision of what they think family life is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there, and it's not like that at all. That's not real.
There is scope though, because I've heard I was talking with a marketing director of a big company, and they didn't do that, but they told me a story of one of the agencies that they used to work with. They hired a beautiful Airbnb, but they plucked in a real family in there for a whole day and let photographer loose with them. So I think there are some agencies and some companies that are prepared to do that sort of thing and let you kind of just completely embrace that. So it's always worth maybe bringing it up and saying, like, I can do it this way as you're used to doing it, but would you be open to maybe trying to do it in a different way? Maybe we don't get a model, maybe we find an actual family who will do that.
It's a bit like going to a posh restaurant and telling them what to cook for you, what ingredients to use, you know. So, I mean, I've had an inquiry recently where they wanted something I couldn't do, but I went back really quickly and said something friendly, and then she came back and said, oh, actually, we need a bit of this and this, can you do that? And I got the feeling they wanted quite a lot done. So I said, I can't do that, but I could probably do this, but listen to this. And I kind of said, this is what I do, so I could do this for you. And she replied and was like, oh, that's amazing, that sounds really exciting, and we need to actually rebrand everything next year anyway. So
let's do that.
It's a waving the flag of documentary photography, and it works for business just like families. The real story behind a product, behind an organisation, or, you know, whatever it is. So we can bring some of our expertise and our point of view into these conversations. We don't just have to shoot the way.
I think, funnily enough, as much as I have a sort of love-hate relationship with social media, I think the rise in social media stars and influencers actually helps us in the is what's making companies interested in real life. And I've noticed on these sort of shoots, you're often getting influencer families rather than models. And it's that pairing of an influencer family where it's actually a real life family who are obviously going to be more natural with each other, and a photographer who is used to shooting in a freer way than someone with studio lighting and stuff like that. And that combination is what they're becoming interested in using.
Yeah. And the kids and influence families are still kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we're getting this family involved, that's why they would come to us. But yeah, these things can be quite big productions, and it can be quite scary. Yeah, it's really quite exciting to see the potential for our genre to sort of come to the front in advertising as well as in family. I think it is growing.
And I think, like, if even if the companies are sort of embracing it in their own way, but it's clear sort of because lifestyle photography came through commercial photography. So lifestyle family photography originated in commercial, and that's how the trend is moving. So people see more and more of that sort of imagery out there, and that's what they then want. So if we see that brands are embracing documentary, we know that's where it's moving.
Yeah, and it will come. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I go to Tesco's every day, and this is it Claire Beatty who took that picture? I don't know.
Oh, no, it was Sarah Mason, I think.
So this kid with drawing on, you know, on his body with a marker, and it says like one less thing you have to wear, like Tesco insurance, one less thing you have to worry about. And every day I stare at this picture, and so are all the people in Tesco's all over the country. So they're kind of like seeing the humor in that, and like it's obviously beautifully shot as well. And it will, like, our genre is growing, and it's really exciting time to just embrace that and just get better and better and better at it, and become one of the, you know, leaders almost in documentary family photography.
Kirsten said the other day, she did a Q&A thing that she thinks in 10 years it will be the dominant genre in family work. Okay. And if it is, then what will happen to commercial? It will completely be that.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, ladies, we've been talking for 2 hours. I don't know. Do we want to?
Sorry, everyone.
No. I love that.
That's an hour and a half.
I bet everyone's turned off. Everyone...
Oh, it's funny news. Oh my God,
Oh my God, the news!
I've just got my school phoning me. Why is my school phoning me?
Uh-oh.
Sorry, I
need to go to school. It's nearly school pickup time. It's been so long. What's the news?
I don't know.
I need to go and have a look at US elections. Let me see. Has anything happened? Sorry. I'm going to refresh my screen so I can see if there's any more news.
Sorry, they always phone the mum.
Oh, Pennsylvania's now gone to Sweden. It's flipped.
Is it? Well, in Pennsylvania, I'm not seeing anything.
I'm on the Guardian the Guardian website's got a good tracker.
Okay.
Right, that's enough politics. Okay, well that was great, everyone. Thank you. Should we leave this now and say goodbye?
Yeah.
So that doesn't have to listen for hours and hours and
I'm
hours.
completely distracted because I just had a school phone call that I actually answered by mistake. But I think my other half is now phoning them. Anyway, so I think we have gone on quite a bit. So we don't want to talk about anything else, projects or anything. We're done.
Right, yeah. I think everyone's gonna...
We'll talk about personal work then.
Is anyone still there?
Is anyone there?
There are a few people watching. There's less than when we first started.
TV chat with us, banging on. Oh dear. Right, so should I stop the live stream now? Yeah.
Live stream, yes, and then Alice will go away for a second.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Okay, let me just. Yeah.
Oh my God! That's what we didn't get onto the sheep. I think it's too long. I'm gonna have to go in a minute to pick up my daughter.